If it is or if it ain't, it's going to come out. Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. It is August the 19th, 2022, and today the topic is seasons. Seasons. For those of you all that are watching me live on here, I don't know. Every now and then, I guess the Lord give me these wacky little visuals, you know what I'm saying, to represent these topics for today. But to be honest, this is very hot, so I'm going to go ahead and I think y'all got the picture here. We're talking about seasons today. I'm going to unwrap my scarf here because it was quite warm under these lights. But yes, seasons, y'all, seasons. Well, I hope that you all had a great day yesterday. Mine was just fine. Didn't do everything that I planned to do, but I did get some things done. So to God be the glory for that, And yeah, your girl made some chili yesterday, so you know what I'm saying. I know, random, but yeah, I was in the mood for some chili and cornbread, so that's what we had yesterday. Now I don't know if it's just me, but has anybody else, made the beans, the dry beans? I don't think I realized how long it takes to use dry beans. I felt like I was like waiting hours for those beans to even. Yeah, apparently there's a whole process that I should have done before just starting the beans yesterday. But anyway, outside of that, I mean, and that's probably one of the things alongside of little man who we still praying for, getting in the way here and there. That kind of threw me off with some of the things that I had planned to do. But again, to God be the glory for the things I did get done, and the chili was good. Seemed to be family approved, so hey, that's all you can ask for out here as a wife sometimes. But anywho, oh yeah, man. Well, woke up this morning to the sound of my alarm. One of the things that I used to help me wake up was remembering that tonight, y'all know that y'all know that today is Friday, so we got a new episode of God, Sex, and Love happening tonight. Boy, guys, it is not a pre-recorded show. We will be live tonight, having a panel discussion, y'all. Y'all know how long it's been since we had a panel discussion. So yes, there is a nice group of men and women. Yes, both men and women that are going to be discussing this hot topic of abortion and the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Again, we may have some differing opinions. And again, like I said, we do have men and women involved in this episode tonight. And so, yeah, tune in tonight at 7 p.m. to watch your girl and some of the panel people live discussing this topic. Obviously, you guys can chime in as well. We should be able to see your comments and things like that. So, yeah, tune in tonight at 7. So, yeah, my heart and mind was kind of thinking about that this morning when I woke up, and I just was like, well, I want to make sure I have some statistics, some notes, some things like that to, bring facts to the table, because I know there's a lot of things that are like all over the place when it comes to this topic of abortion and whatnot. And there's like these narratives and things that are being pushed out. So just a little bit of research will give you some insight on some of that stuff. And so, I'm going to try to at least get some of the basic information together, like what's the definition of abortion? What's, what I mean? Things like that to just kind of even the playing field in regards to knowledge, right? And then, hopefully that will help us to have a informed conversation tonight. So, yeah, be on the lookout, y'all. 7 p.m. tonight. Um, but anywho, yeah, aside from that, man, I listened to my prayer meditation. Um, and it was good, but unfortunately I don't really remember it, so and by the time I did quiet my mind and was like, okay, well, what's the topic today, Lord? X, Y, and Z. I noticed that the little song by the Birds was in my head, To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season. That song. Yeah, that was in my head. And so I was like, okay, seasons. Seasons. Which is interesting because I know yesterday we were talking about you know, what was it? Abide and sojourn, and how sojourn was talking, meant temporary, until you got biblical, and then that also could mean permanent as well. So I'm like, whoa, seasons? Is there a season changing, Lord? Like, whoa, where we at? Where we at? What you saying today, Lord? And so, it's quite interesting the things I came across this morning. And it's quite a lot. So let's go ahead and get into it, y'all, and talk about seasons today, right? So Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. Yeah, I mean, obviously, the first verse in this chit chat about seasons, as I believe is also the first line in that song. I mean, they put that little spin on it, but yeah, it says to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. Yeah, and it goes on to give different examples. I was thinking about reading all of those today, but then I kind of just felt led to write down the verse that I wrote down. And then there was another verse that I wrote down as well. That came from that. But the rest of it, you guys can read on your own in the Go Deeper section. That's all the Go Deeper section is today, just Ecclesiastes 3:1 through 22, which is the entire thing. But the other verse that stood out to me this morning as I was reading the entire thing was Ecclesiastes 3:11. It says, he hath made everything beautiful in his time. Also, he hath set the world in their heart, so that no man can find out the work that God maketh from the beginning to the end. So that is where things started to kind of turn a bit in regards to this season conversation. I started to see and notice something a little bit different, or maybe that I maybe haven't noticed before when reading that passage. And it was towards the end of reading Ecclesiastes 3, and again, you guys got to read that on your own. I don't even know if I can really paraphrase it at this time, just because, again, I've engulfed my mind in so many different things since I read that verse. But I just say, as I was getting towards the end of Ecclesiastes, I was kind of getting a different vibe or different revelation or something different was happening to me as I was reading those verses. And I think it kind of coincides with some things I was coming across in some of these verses that I'm going to get ready to share. So let's keep going. Let's just keep going. So then I felt led to write down Daniel 2:21. It says, he changes times and seasons. He removes kings and sets up kings. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to those who have understanding. This kind of reminded me of a video I was watching yesterday, and I shared it with you all on the God, Sex, and Love Facebook page. Again, you guys can follow us there for things throughout the day, videos, quotes, all kinds of good old things. But it's this testimony of a quote-unquote ex-witch, somebody that was ex-New Age, that used to do New Age and whatnot. And I noticed at one point during her testimony, she mentioned that when she had come to Christ, she kind of saw herself differently. Like, she was looking in the mirror and she actually saw, like, who she actually was versus, like, who she had built herself up to be in her mind, right? But then, and she was saying that God was revealing to her that, hey, if you truly had the power you know, that she felt like she could control anything, right? She felt like she was God, right? At some point by working in that in those things. But, God was revealing to her that at the end of the day, if you truly, that basically that she's not God. He was revealing to her that, hey, you are not God. I am in control. And things like that. And I think that's just something to keep into our hearts and minds, that at the end of the day, God has control over all things, including the times and seasons, right? Even including the kings and all of that. At some point, he's probably going to appoint certain people for certain things, and then appoint other people for other things. We've seen that in history, we've seen that in life, we see that in our everyday lives. And so, yeah. I don't know what else to say about that, but yeah, it says that he changes the times and the seasons. Galatians 6 and 9, it says, and let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up. This is a very familiar verse here on the Juice. I mean, it's in a very encouraging verse as well, at least for me. Because a lot of times when you're doing good, you do start to get tired, right? You do start to wonder, like, well, is this worth it? Like, why am I doing this? Is this having an impact? I definitely have wondered that throughout my life and everything like that. And actually, as I was getting ready to go live, and if I reflect on this particular verse, I was thinking about just how much, the different seasons in my life have impacted my life, right? Just how much those different seasons are impacting my life even now. Again, I mean, I'm not just trying to name drop, but I gotta throw it up here when I talk. I mean, I'm spending a lot of time these days telling everybody about the cultivation period, right? Telling everybody about that time of my life when I was really seeking the Lord for myself, building our relationship for our, with God for myself, again, not just based on what I was taught, based on, again, my mother, things like that, but based on me getting into the Bible for myself, challenging myself to read the entire thing, challenging myself to fellowship, challenging myself to draw nearer to God and everything like that. And I'm sharing so much about that time in my life right now that I can see how important that season of my life was, right? And even this season now, again, I feel like it's very important. And who knows years from now what impact this current season is going to have on yes, my life, but then anybody else that it comes in contact with me or whatever, so again, there can be times that we're going through things and we're like, wow, Lord, that was one of my questions way up back in the day. I was asking that a whole lot. Like, why do I have to wait? Why do I have to be patient? When am I going to have this or that? You know, why, right? And it's so funny because I was just telling my husband last night, I was like, oh, we're in the why stage because that our son is asking those questions. He's like, why? But why? And everything like that. And so, we may be wondering why we're going through certain things, but then, um, I hope that this verse encourages you and inspires you if you are in the midst of doing good, right? And you're wondering, why and if this even matters and everything like that. First Thessalonians 5 and 1, it says, now concerning the times and the seasons, brothers, you have no need to have anything written to you. Now, obviously, we can go deeper with that and everything, but I did not go deeper today to read more of First Thessalonians. I mean, you can, if you want and everything, but for me, I kind of just focused more so on that verse because another verse I came across felt like it just kind of really coincided with that verse said. And this Acts 1 and 7, it says, he said to them, it is not for you to know times or seasons that the Father has fixed by his own authority. So that was kind of reminding me of what I was reading in Ecclesiastes 3. Now, again, I don't remember all the verses right now, so y'all can go read that on your own. That is in the Go Deeper section. But I feel like they were kind of coinciding. So I'm like, okay, well, Lord, I guess what you want me to know today about seasons is that, hey, it may not be for me to know, when it comes to certain things in regards to the seasons. All you need to know is that at the end of the day, if you don't give up, you're going to reap, right? All you need to know is that God is in control, right? And he's doing these things, right? And then, yeah, I mean, we can go even deeper here because there's some more verses that stood out to me in regards to this. And it's Genesis 1:14. It says, and God said, let there be lights in the expanse of the heavens to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years. Then Psalm 104:19 goes and says, he made the moon to mark the seasons, and the sun know and the sun know its time for setting. And then if I go ahead and share with you guys Genesis 8:29, it says, while the earth I don't know, y'all. Sorry about that. So y'all can read that on your own. But while the earth something, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night shall not cease. So, after all of that, I guess what I'm receiving this morning about seasons, I guess that's what's important is that at the end of the day, perhaps it's not up to us, or it's not for us to know the details in regards to like what God is doing and what he has planned for certain seasons in our life. But just understand that he's in control, right? Understand that, you keep doing good. Don't grow weary in doing good because you're going to reap if you do not give up. And then also just know that at the end of the day, what he sets in place is going to continue and going to happen and everything like that. And, the things know it's time when to complete whatever task it is, whether it's the moon, whether it's the sun, whether it's the winter or the summer, all those things, again, are beautiful in their own time. And that's the juice this morning. That is the juice. The Bible verse of today is Romans 15:13. It says, now the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing that ye may abound in hope through the power of the Holy Ghost. Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspirational juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye.
Everyone is stuck at home, but life is still happening around us every day. Birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, and celebrations. Send your friends and family the gift of wine from the comforts of home. Wine shop at home with Miracle of Wine. Wine, gift baskets, wine accessories, and more at miracleofwine.com.